In February 2026, a quiet bill was introduced in the Illinois State Senate containing a highly specific mathematical threshold. It is called SB 3444. Under this proposed law, an artificial intelligence company cannot be held liable for critical harms unless their system directly causes $1 billion in property damage or kills more than 100 people. If a pharmaceutical manufacturer releases a drug that results in 50 fatalities, the response is immediate. The product is subjected to a total recall, the production line halts entirely, and the company faces catastrophic legal action. If a newly engineered automobile has a mechanical failure that kills a dozen civilians, the courts meticulously reconstruct the variables to assign partial or total liability to the manufacturer. The burden of safety is built directly into the cost of doing business. Yet, as frontier AI models integrate into physical and societal infrastructure, tech giants are actively lobbying state legislatures to legislate an arbitrary buffer zone. They're asking for a legal shield, allowing them to absorb mass casualties without consequence. Setting a permitted quota of 99 human lives has nothing to do with improving system safety. It is a calculated, engineered standard designed to protect shareholder profit from inevitable product failures. Security researcher and author Bruce Schneier argues that the AI arms race is a fabricated lobbying narrative designed to block domestic regulation. In the 1960s, aerospace and nuclear breakthroughs happened in isolated government laboratories. Today, the foundational building block of generative AI, the transformer, was released as a public research paper. Engineering teams globally operate in a shared environment, iterating on identical open-source software structures. Dominance depends on access to extreme ultraviolet lithography systems. Engineered exclusively by ASML, these multi-million-dollar machines represent a hard physical limit. Export controls restrict foreign competitors from acquiring them. Domestic liability law won't bypass this geopolitical reality. Without these specific machines, it is physically impossible to manufacture the advanced silicon wafers that act as the computing brain for any frontier AI model. The semiconductor supply chain creates a massive physical barrier to entry that persists regardless of domestic software regulations. Framing regulation as a threat to national security allows companies to reposition a question of public safety as a matter of geopolitical survival, evading the legal accountability required in any other industry. To understand how engineering responds to legal pressure, look at the 19th century steam engine. It was the frontier technology, powerful, profitable, and dangerously unstable. Manufacturers rushed these heavy iron machines to market to power the Industrial Revolution. Consequently, boilers routinely ruptured under pressure, causing massive public casualties before the government finally stepped in to mandate strict safety regulations. Forcing financial liability onto the manufacturers did not bankrupt the steam industry. Instead, the threat of ruinous lawsuits compelled engineers to physically design mechanical failsafes. The most important of these inventions was the centrifugal governor. As the engine spun faster, centrifugal force pushed those metal spheres outward. This physical motion closed a steam valve, creating a mechanical feedback loop that throttled the engine down before reaching an explosive threshold. Today's AI laboratories are lobbying to legalize an acceptable death toll specifically to avoid building a modern equivalent. Immunity removes the financial pressure to engineer a digital governor. The underlying motive for pushing legislation like SB 3444 is entirely economic. AI companies are executing the early social media playbook: privatize all the financial upside while socializing the damage, from radicalization to mass casualties, onto the general public. This chart compares private company valuations against the escalating public costs of systemic tech failures. The gap between private wealth and public risk absorption is massive. Industry lobbyists counter this by claiming that applying strict liability to AI outputs will bankrupt independent developers and destroy the open-source software ecosystem. But the legal system already handles these complexities. Courts rely on well-established frameworks of partial liability to distribute blame across multiple parties, measuring variables and assigning fault the exact same way they untangle responsibility after a multi-car highway collision. We also have existing mechanisms like Good Samaritan laws to protect individuals offering free assistance, alongside models where commercial companies sell paid support and liability protection on top of free code. The legal infrastructure to protect independent developers exists without handing blanket immunity to multi-billion-dollar corporations. If paying out settlements for fatalities makes a specific AI model unprofitable, then the model itself is structurally flawed. A machine that cannot be operated safely without legal immunity is a failed piece of engineering. If a tech giant is incapable of designing a system that is safe for public use, they shouldn't get a legal buffer for 99 casualties. They should step aside for the engineers who can.